Holy crap, YouTube! Welcome back to All Things Nerdy, where I bring you all things nerdy. We just got back from watching The Force Awakens, and we want to do a little quick video, completely spoiler-free. So if you haven't seen it, don't worry, we're not going to spoil a single thing for you, but we wanted to give you our impressions. To my right here, I've got Cole, and my left, I've got Austin. They went and saw the movie with me, so they're back here, and we've got these nice Stormtrooper glasses, nice 3D ones. They're pretty awesome. They look good. He looks exactly like a stormtrooper. But overall, what did you guys think of the movie? Did you enjoy it? I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great time. It was a good movie overall. But did you guys like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I felt like it was Star Wars again. We didn't think I'd ever be in a theater watching Star Wars.
I mean, we weren't supposed to get any more Star Wars. That's significant in itself. Overall, good movie. Bad movie, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that. After this, we're going to record another one, so if you have seen it, we're going to do a completely spoiler-filled video. That way you can get your jollies. After you see a movie, you want to go out and talk and have somebody reassure your feelings. We're going to hopefully help you out with that. We've got a little bit we'll talk about here, though. Completely spoiler-free again, so don't worry. The music, what did you guys think of the music? The score on here, did it sound like Star Wars? Any particular moments you thought it felt like Star Wars music-wise? Or
I think it all felt like Star Wars, felt like that orchestra kind of feel to it and had its right times and moments. And
yeah, you know, for the most part, it definitely sounded like Star Wars. I mean, John Williams coming back to do these movies again, I think that was the right move. I don't feel like there was any particular moments as far as music that was memorable, like the Imperial March. I mean, a lot of it was rehashed or altered for a new generation, which makes sense. What did you think of it?
Very much so. It was very much Star Wars music. The action scenes, you know, the music got you pumped.
It did, yeah.
For what you were watching. You know, it even had, you know, the comedic music. I mean, it was all there.
Yeah. Character development was another big one. Without getting into specifics of things, character development, how'd you feel about it? Did you feel it was paced okay?
With it being a first movie in a series, obviously there was some stuff that was rushed with it. But overall, I felt like the new characters that you were introduced with, you at least got some sort of story out of them. I mean, I felt like when the movie ended, I wasn't completely confused about who a character was or, you know, what their purpose was. Mm-hmm. So I felt in that way they did do a good job with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a short amount of time. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I felt like everybody had a good, appropriate character arc to develop who, as far as introduction was, as well as you know, where they were going or into the next movie. You know, who was your favorite character? If you had to pick one out of the movie, old or new, who was your favorite character in here?
probably Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. That's a good choice. What about you? Who's your favorite?
I'm actually the exact same way.
Kylo?
Yeah, I feel like with, you know, a lot of movies with the villain, you don't get as much depth into their persona. They're either just extreme evil or something like that. But with Kylo Ren, I mean, once you see the movie, you'll see he's a complicated character.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. He's definitely a complicated character. I really like his characterization. He's not just plain vanilla white, cut out, you know. A lot of people had fears that he's going to be just a copycat Darth Vader. Well, without giving anything away, I can tell you that your fears are not realized. He's completely his own self. He's got a lot of character, and you'll see that. As far as my favorite, I'm kind of torn. I liked Finn a lot. Finn was really good, cool. But at the same time, I liked Rey. I liked their dynamic. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Rey.
Right.
You know, strong female character was definitely different from what we were used to seeing, and I think she could carry the franchise pretty good. She had a lot of emotional scenes, and I felt like she had good character development through the whole thing. Finn, good as well, but you know, I would have to go with Rey. As far as ranking them, again, good movie, but where does it rank? Is it better than the originals? Is it not as good as the originals? Out of all six, including the prequels, where would you say you would rank it as far as best, better, good kind of idea?
I'd say it's probably right now equal to. You're starting out another trilogy, so it's going to be obviously got more explaining to do.
Right.
So I think it's
So sort of the middle, you know.
yeah, it's a great movie, but yeah, I think it's in the middle right now. Obviously, you got places to go with it, and
Right. Okay. What do you think it ranks at?
Definitely better than the prequels as far as story elements and stuff goes. As good, I would say. As good as New Hope.
Okay.
And then maybe not quite as good as the other two. But at the same time, it definitely is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So.
See, I would have to agree with you. I'm definitely. This is something you'll definitely want to see again. I at least plan on breaking the bank and going a couple different times.
At least a handful.
Yeah, good movie, and without seeing it more than once, I would say it's 100% better than the prequels. 100%. Thank you, JJ. Thank you, JJ. Definitely better than the prequels. I think it's a little bit better than A New Hope. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's definitely better than A New Hope. Better than Empire or Jedi? I don't know. I'm gonna have to see it again to be able to say so. I will say it's probably not, just because those were so iconic, and the first time seeing those created such big memories. But I'll definitely give it a shot and go see it again. But I would definitely say it's better than prequels, a little bit better than New Hope. Definitely a little bit better than A New Hope, which is really, really good. Because this movie, I feel like, has a lot of people being really critical of it. You made mention of Star Wars fans being the hardest to please. I think that's true. Yeah. After the prequels, a lot of people were really skeptical of this movie, and going in, I feel like my judging hat was on pretty heavily, and
especially with Disney being
Disney taking over. I feel like they did a great job. As far as people who have never seen Star Wars, which is actually a large amount of people. If you're watching this and you've never seen Star Wars, what is wrong with you?
What rock do you live under?
Yeah. But there's a lot of them out there, right? There's a lot of people leading up to this movie I talked to who have never seen the movie, any of them, or haven't, maybe just went back and, I tried watching A New Hope and I didn't feel it. A lot of people, and that's what I think I've kind of come to the conclusion. If you've never seen any of them and you're just now going back and trying to watch the originals, you're probably not a big fan. You're not feeling it. A lot of people I talked to felt that way. So if you've never seen Star Wars, is this a movie that you would go see or recommend to someone who's never seen them?
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of hype to Star Wars, and if you've never had the chance to watch the other ones or anything like that, this one's you could definitely start out with this one.
Yeah.
There's obviously new characters brought in, there's old characters brought in. I just believe it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
If you need to, you can go back and...
Great place to jump in. I mean, he touched on it a little bit. You've got old characters coming in, so what is that? If you've never seen any of the older movies, how would you feel just now jumping in with the old characters?
As far as old characters go, without spoiling anything, of course, once you met the old characters, like, you had a feel that they were awesome still, right? Like, if you've never seen Han Solo, you could just tell from the first couple minutes you meet this guy that he's a badass, right?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like you knew that from the start. And also, I mean, if you think about it, this is episode 7, right?
Yeah.
So if you're seeing episode 7 without seeing, the first 6, I felt like you wouldn't be completely lost.
Yeah.
Like, they explained enough of the backstory that you knew what was going on with the story.
Yeah.
And then, but you still had the new feel of the element for a new one, too. So.
Yeah. And in fact, you actually ran into some people at the gas station, some younger kids who had never seen it, and they were speculating if there was going to be another one.
They were trying to decide if there was going to be another one, or...
Yeah. It sounded like they were digging the movie that they liked and looking forward to a new one. Yeah. If you've never seen it, I would say this is a movie for you to go check out.
We do promise you there will be another one.
There will be another one.
I think so, anyway.
Yeah, one a year is what Disney is trying to do right now as far as Star Wars movies, be it part of the anthology movies that they're doing, the side movies, or be it part of the regular saga. But those of you who have seen Star Wars, you've seen the originals, you've seen the prequels, what do you think? Is this a movie that would please Star Wars fans? Yeah, tough question.
I was pleased.
You were pleased?
I was pleased. The hardcore Star Wars skeptic, I can see spots where they can be nitpicky about. I mean, but at the same time, as soon as we knew that Disney was making this, right, I felt like there was two spots you could be at. Either Disney's going to kill this movie and it's going to be, the rebirth of Star Wars, or they were going to absolutely destroy it and franchise is going down the toilet. I felt like it's definitely leaning more towards they killed it. So I don't feel like there's going to be as much negativity with this one as what the prequels had.
As many of you know, I'm a beyond huge Star Wars fan, and I made mention in my last video. Somehow, at every point in my video, it comes up that I like Star Wars. So I'm one of those mega nerds who have read all the books, checked out the comics, played the games. If it's Star Wars, I've probably got my hand in it at some point. I felt pleased. If you're a Star Wars fan, I feel like this movie will satisfy your needs. It feels like Star Wars. It looks like Star Wars. It sounds like Star Wars. It was Star Wars. A lot of people who dislike the prequels didn't feel like that sounded like Star Wars or didn't look like it. It didn't feel right. Even though it had the name, it didn't feel like the originals. This had a lot of feel to it. I felt like I was watching Star Wars again, which was fantastic. So if you're familiar with Star Wars, I think you're going to be really pleased. But it's actually kind of interesting. This is actually PG-13. The only other movie that did that was Revenge of the Sith. I like the tone. I liked it being PG-13. It added a good grit element to it without going into gory or someone dropping an F-bomb here and there. It added a nice heavy grit to it, and that was good. I liked that. What did you think, being PG-13 versus PG?
This movie definitely fit the PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was obviously violence in Star Wars,
right.
But I don't feel like there was too much that your kids couldn't watch.
Right.
There's not. You're not gonna. It's a movie you can take your kids to see. It's not something that's gonna scar them for life.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I wouldn't mind taking a younger child to go see it. I don't feel like there was any real big elements that would scare off parents from being. I mean, right next to us we had a family and a good bonding moment with son and his son, or a father and his son. I don't think there's anything that would really scare them off. What did you think of the tone? Being PG-13, is it good? Do you think they should continue it?
I agree a lot with what Cole said. I mean, it was family friendly enough that you aren't going to have to leave your kids at home.
Right.
But at the same time, it did have more action. More of a darker tone to it. For older people that like that sort of thing. So while it wasn't like dark to the extreme, kind of like Revenge of the Sith was, I felt like there's enough action and stuff there that I mean, they're not hitting each other with pillows and stuff like that. I mean, these are blaster cannons and lightsabers. I mean, there should be some sort of...
And it's Star Wars. You gotta leave it Star Wars. You can't just put a PG-13, come back to G, and be like, hey, pew.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I like the tone a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope they keep this PG-13 tone. It provides a nice balance. You're not going into these heavy moments too often, to the point that you're going into maybe an R and you're in a whole different universe, but you're not keeping things really lighthearted either. I think this is where Star Wars is going to find its sweet spot, is PG-13. Being the originals were a completely different era versus now we're in just a completely different time frame. I think PG-13 is where they need to stick to. I enjoyed it, at least. There was a lot of hype around this movie. Do you think it led up to the hype?
I do believe it, for the most part. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's going to be more to come. There's going to...
and there's things wrong with the movie. Don't make it sound like this is the perfect movie of all time. There's elements to the movie that weren't fantastic, and you can check that out in the spoiler review that will be coming up shortly after this one. There's a lot of good stuff we want to get into. But for the most part, I feel like it did. It led up to the hype. I was really excited going in. Prequels were a little weird, so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going in completely blind and going no, it's Star Wars, it has to be good. I feel like it was good. I feel like the hype was there and it was warranted. What do you think?
Made me want more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Star Wars, when you say Star Wars, Disney obviously had a big weight on its shoulders to keep going Star Wars, because say, hey, I'm making a Star Wars movie. Holy shit, that's a whole new...
Yeah. And it's great, new generations getting Star Wars. It was good. So overall, give it a score out of 10. Just a quick score out of 10. What would you say?
9.
9?
I give it an 8.
An 8?
Mm-hmm.
I would give it a 9. Like I said, there are things about it that there are some issues with the film. It's not the most perfect film. Right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 97% rating. That's pretty great. Pretty great for a Star Wars film that, something that's so heavily scrutinized. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing anything this weekend, I would say go watch it. Go get your tickets now. If you're busy this weekend, get them during the weekday. Something. This is a movie that I think you have to go see.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a sci-fi fan and you've never gotten into Star Wars, I think this is something that you have to at least go see once. Go check it out.
Don't be one of those people that's 40 years old and say, I've never seen Star Wars.
Yeah, that makes me sad on the inside. Everybody should see it once.
Speaking of older, did you notice in the theater the guy in front of us, literally like a 60-year-old guy in there watching Star Wars? I was so proud.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
That was great.
That was a good moment, yeah. But other than that, guys, thank you for stopping by. Stay nerdy, and have a good one.
See ya.